Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Welcome to another segment of Let's Talk. It's a pleasure to have you joining us this evening. We would like to let you know that we do appreciate you joining us every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. As you know, we're using the social media platform. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. We also have our website, letstalkca.org. For those of you joining us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and also send us a text, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. We would love to hear from you, and we love hearing from you. We love getting your questions, your comments. So please utilize Facebook and YouTube and let us know what you think about the show. And we appreciate you journeying with us. My guest this evening is a consultant for professional athletes, primarily working with NBA players. He's a passionate basketball coach and trainer. He has over 12 years of experience working with young athletes from age 10 and up. He has worked with nonprofit organizations such as Liberty for Youth and United Public Leadership Academy for Youth. He is also the National Youth Director for the Church of God of Prophecy of Eastern Canada. My guest this evening is none other than Minister Kenold M. Welcome back to Let's Talk.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, the last time you were here with us on Let's Talk, you were celebrating the birth of your firstborn son.
Yeah.
But since then, I think the family has grown.
Yes.
Tell us how the family and your wife and children are doing. Share with us what's been happening.
Well, not a lot because of the fact that we've been at home, stayed at home for the most part. But the family's doing well, and we thank God for just keeping us. And the two little boys now, Joshua and Elijah, and my wife, Bianca, who's holding it down at home and doing all the good stuff there. She's been great, and she's been great support. And we were just doing what we can to stay afloat in this very difficult time. But we thank God for all that He's done for us. Right.
So it looks like you're creating a basketball team or a football team. What are you doing?
Hopefully basketball team.
Yeah. Well, the last time you were with us, as I alluded to, the world was a different place. As you know, we're battling with COVID-19, systemic racism, and all kinds of stuff. But of all the heartbreaking effects of COVID-19, its impact on our youth could prove to be one of the most dangerous legacies that we'll have to deal with post-COVID. Before we get into that discussion, however, how has it been for you as a coach and a trainer? How are you doing that? And also, I miss the Raptors being in town and where you can go to a game. How are you coping with all of that?
Man, it's tough for the sports world because the gyms aren't available. They've shut down gyms, and you've got to get creative on how to do things. Trainers are doing Zoom sessions, and teams are kind of on a pause when it comes to basketball from a local level or from a community level, just to do our part in this difficult time. When it comes to the NBA and what they've done a great job of securing their players and getting it going. But yeah, I miss the Raptors. It's taken a big toll on them. They don't have the aura of their hometown. None of their games are home. All their games were away this season, and it's definitely taken a toll on them. But I've trusted Nick Nurse and those group. I think they'll be all right come playoff time to make some noise. Right.
So you're not just a coach and a trainer, you're also a youth minister.
Yeah.
What has ministry been like during COVID-19? I'm sure you have had to become very creative. It's a different world. What has that been like?
It has been challenging if I am to be frank, because of the fact that you've got to, again, like you said, be creative in how we present and how we connect with our youth, especially given the fact that their schooling has also changed.
Right.
So they're no longer in school, so they have to be on Zoom all day. It's very difficult to try and get on a Zoom on a Friday night with them or on Saturday when they've been literally Zoomed out the entire week. So it has been challenging from a ministry standpoint, and I think our method of how to connect with our youth has to be fluid. Can't be static. We have to be versatile and being able to pivot from doing things from one way to another way, and maybe have to change that again. There's just a lot of pivoting and versatility that needs to happen in youth ministry, especially dealing with these young minds that just see all this change that's happening.
Right. I know for a lot of adults, especially for older adults, they're thinking that with this technology, the youth would gravitate to whether it's Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, because it's their world.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't see them getting bored. But do you find that they're still getting bored?
Oh no, they're still. It is just the consistency of being online. It's hard for them to stay on that and be motivated about just jumping on a Zoom call and having a conversation or something like that.
Right.
You have some youth that enjoy doing that, and they'll jump on and be consistent. But from the grand scheme of things, it's just not something that can be long-standing or in every week. Sometimes you kind of have to adjust it a little bit. Instead of doing something every week, you might have to do it once a month. Because again, it becomes mundane and it's redundant, and we've got to try and be versatile and try and be creative and get the youth interested in what's going on. So they do get bored with that as well.
Yeah. I read somewhere that said about 50% of our young people are wrestling with mental health issues due to COVID. So you think about the loss of their jobs. There's no summer jobs like there used to be coming up. Now that they have to, study online, they're not able to work. They're not able to make their own money like they used to. They're not able to navigate the things that they used to. And so the studies show that it's impacting them mentally.
Yeah.
Have you, with the youth you're working with, how they're coping mentally?
That's been challenging as well, and we've heard a lot of our youth leaders and youth talk about that. And the last Youth Connect that we had at the end of last year, we had some mental health experts try and shed some light on how to cope and how to get through these difficult times, and how to keep yourself fresh. The youth are being impacted mentally by this because, again, their normal has been upset so much, and
Right.
it's been shifted so much that for us who are more mature and older, it's easier for us to adapt, and not easier, but we can decide to adapt and change. But for them, it's the surprise of it, the spontaneous movement and changes. That's difficult for them mentally. A lot. Knowing my little kids, one thing about them is that they thrive on consistency. When there are consistent systems set up in place, it's much easier to find success when it comes to kids, children, and youth. The exact same thing. When youth have a consistent way of doing things, they are much more mentally at peace and in a good place. So we do have to pay attention, and as adults, we have to be able to help them as much as we can, and provide support wherever it is that we can, understanding that they are going to be going through these difficult times as well.
Right. We used to spend most of our time talking about millennials, our generation Y, which is about ages 23 through 38. I mean, that could shift somewhat. But now there's a new generation that they think may be the final generation. Is called Generation Z.
Mm-hmm.
And we call them Zoomers. And this could be age 6 to 24.
Mm-hmm.
This generation, they say, will typify the new reality of the post-Christian world.
Mm.
This is a generation that are living in the post-Christian world where Christianity is not as familiar to them as it was to you and I. How do we minister to this new generation, especially during COVID, because they're a lot different than the millennials?
That's right. It is not a simple answer, because it takes for us who have that duty to impart in them what it is that we've been taught. It takes for us to be versatile. It takes us to have to change our lens a little bit, and look at things a little bit different when we're teaching them and imparting in them what it is that we've learned. We've got to understand that it's not the same. Things are not the same as how we used to learn, and how we used to go to church and get connected to the church. For example, the building, the church is just, it's not physically there for us to go into right now. So how can you still keep connected with those youth, teaching them about the truth of the gospel and what the gospel really means through actions and through a relationship with God? I think if we can figure out how to instill the relationship of God within our youth, they'll be able to sustain that for a long period of time. So the Zoomers, we can't be thinking like how we thought in the past. We've got to think differently. We've got to be creative. We've just got to be fresh and doing things to make them understand that this is truly about a relationship with God. And if you have the relationship, then you'll be able to sustain your Christianity, because there's so many distractions and so much that's trying to take them away from that. It's important for us to teach them about having a relationship with God. That is key.
Very good. Now, I want to continue this conversation, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278 extension 233 or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. My guest is Kenold M, and he's our National Youth Director. He's also a basketball coach and trainer, and it's good to have him with us as we're talking about the effects of COVID on our youth. Now, we spoke about the Zoomers who are living in a time where it's Wi-Fi enabled, it's multiracial, it's sexually fluid. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that they're facing. But another thing that we have to talk about is they seem not to trust our institutions. And one of the institutions I'm talking about is the church. Not only do they not trust other institutions, but they seem not to trust the church as they view it as an institution. And they seem not to trust us because, as you were mentioning before, some of them view church as just rules and regulations. How do we help them to develop trust in the church, especially during these difficult times?
The biggest thing is the authenticity and transparency of the leaders and mentors and those that have been in the faith for a while. It's on us who've been through so many different things to be able to show our young people that, you know what, you can be a Christian. You will have some difficult moments. You will have some challenges. You will go through some stuff and take them alongside us and let them see truly what we go through as Christians and know that they're not alone, and the things that they go through and their journey in Christianity is not going to be a static one. There's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be periods of feeling like you don't want to be involved in this. I think that is what's going to be key to grasp, because they want to see the realness of what it is to be a Christian, the authentic Christian, to be able to, build up their own understanding and relationship with God and what Christianity really means. We've got a duty to be able to showcase to them what that really looks like. That's how it's going to help.
Yeah, and I'm thinking as pastors and youth leaders and those who minister to youth, especially during this time of COVID-19, apart from what you just mentioned, what are some of the things we need to learn about our youth so that we can help them navigate their way through this minefield?
Mm-hmm. They are extremely smart, and they are going to question absolutely everything. Absolutely everything.
Does that mean I have to have answers for them?
Not only do you have to have answers, but you've got to be able to take their rebuttal. You've got to be able to hear them disagree with you and still have that zeal and that understanding to work with them and to figure out how to help them. Because I think our culture and our way of doing things have, it's kind of like a disrespect thing when young people start talking back to us or they start saying things that, we don't like. But the reality is that in this information age that we live in, they know so much. They can Google absolutely anything. They can type in Google and find exactly what it is that they need to find, and they don't need you to explain anything to them. So the reality is that if we can take the discourse and we can learn how to, kind of wrestle with each other, you use that word a lot, or just try and unpack things together and hear each other out, not just be somebody that wants to talk to them, but be somebody that wants to listen to them. That is going to help them through this big part.
Another group that I empathize with are parents, because now we have our young people who are living at home. They're in home with mom and dad, with their siblings, and I can hear parents just pulling their hair out and saying, "I don't know how to deal with these kids. I don't know what to do. You're driving me crazy." What are some of the insights you'd give to parents, especially parents who, like we're talking about the Zoomers, Generation Z, who are totally different. And what we do as parents many times is we try to compare our generation to their generation.
Yes.
What are some of the insights you'll give to the parents that are listening to us?
This word is what I'll use is the word balance. You have to have balance in what you're trying to teach them and what you're allowing them to figure out on their own. And that's pivotal, because they have to have their own space to grow and to, figure things out. And at the same time, as parents, you want to direct and you want to show them which way it is that they need to go. As the Bible says, that we should train up our kids in the way that they should go, so they don't depart from what it is that we instill in them. There's a part of that has to be solid and there, but there's another part of them figuring out themselves, and you've got to allow that space. You've got to allow them to do that. And if you have that balance, it'll be better off for you in the long run.
I'm also thinking that there are some youth, like adults as well, that are just waiting for things to go back to normal. So post-pandemic, there are people are just thinking, especially our young people, those who are in post-secondary school, all of that stuff, they can't wait for things to go back to normal. And so what do you say to them? Because I don't think we're going to go back to normal like we knew it.
Listen, you hit it right on the nail. I mean, you need to forget about getting back to normal. The reality is that what we've been given is an opportunity to do something different, to do something spontaneous, to do something great, because this is a new way of doing things, using your creativity and insight and all that you have, because God's given us so much within us to be able to do so many different things. Now, this is an opportunity to showcase the gifts that God has given us. So we shouldn't be striving to get back to normal. We should be figuring out how we can be revolutionary, how we can be different, how we can be transformative in our thinking and in spreading the gospel and connecting with people. That is what we've got to be able to do now, not trying to get back to normal. If we do get back to normal, then thank God that we at least get back to some. There might be some type of normal that we get back to, but the reality is that there's so much that's going to change, and we've got to be ready to be prepared for when that change happens.
Now, I know when we're in person in the building, we did quite a number of things with our youth. And I'm just wondering, how do we now that we're in Zoom, we're in YouTube, we're in different platforms, how do we help them to develop their spirituality? How do we help them to think seriously about their spiritual life and about, you just mentioned opportunity, the opportunities that surrounds them. How do we help them to start thinking more about their spirituality?
We've got to instill certain principles and ways of doing things. We've recently just started a bi-weekly prayer session on Zoom on every other Saturday. So this Saturday coming up, we will be having one with our youth leaders. And as you're speaking, I'm thinking about this is something that we've got to try and instill in our youth. Is if we find creative ways to install some of those fundamental things that we've done, such as fasting, such as prayer, such as Bible study, and empowering them to do it a certain way. Maybe it is that you focus on a word that they have for the entire month or the entire week, and they go and they try and be creative with that. We have some creative people in our national youth team. Shanice, who is so creative, and she uses Instagram, and the way she lays it out, I couldn't do that. I couldn't have that vision, but she has that. Our young people, they have things like they can see things that are attractive to other young people. How we help them build their spirituality, it almost is like what I was saying to the parents. We give them that space. We allow them to use their creativity to do things, instill in them some of those fundamental things that they need to have, for sure, but allow them to figure out how to execute that, because they have it all. They have that creativity in them.
Right. Now, I read some of the research that says that, some of our young people also are concerned about their families getting the virus, not so much themselves, but like their parents, their grandparents. What are young people saying about vaccines? I know it's not time yet for them to get the vaccine, but what are they saying? Have you heard? Are they curious? Are they scared? Are they fearful? What are they saying?
It's mixed. It's mixed because, like I've said before, young people are so smart, and they can really see things in a different light, and there's a mixed
Right.
feeling about it for them, and that's understandable. The reality is that a lot of our kids have grown up in the era of vaccines, anyways. They've been
Right.
taking vaccines from however long, but a lot of them are now trying to empower themselves to understand the information, to get the data for themselves and do their research, because this is a research generation. So they're going to
Right.
look into
Right.
absolutely everything before they actually make a decision to do it. So there's a lot of people who are really excited about getting it because they feel like, that can help us get back to some type of normal that we were talking about.
Right.
But then there are some that are very skeptical about it, especially given some of the information and sometimes misinformation that's being put out there. It's so important for youth and anyone
Right.
that's being impacted in this, everyone that's being impacted, to take the time to do the right research and understand that there has to be a middle ground of truth. Somewhere people are going to throw a whole bunch of different things out there, but you've got to be able to do your research and allow the Holy Spirit, allow the Holy Spirit to guide you and show you what's true from what's wrong. And to our young
Right.
people, I think that's important for them as well too, because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Right. Now, I know that when we were doing in-person gathering, we also ministered to the youth outside of the church.
Mhm.
Research shows that substance abuse have increased. There's even young people who are having difficulty dealing with this time that are taking their lives. The suicide rate is up. As a church, in this
Mhm.
unique time that we're living in, seeing that we're not in person, we're not physically in the communities like we used to be.
That's right.
How can we help our young people who are not church? That means they don't attend the church, they're in the communities, but they're not from the church. How is there a way that we can minister to them during these very challenging times?
The best way to be impactful in that mode is to be able to understand that there are organizations and groups that are experts in this
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And as a church, it doesn't mean that you've got to bite more than you can chew. Like
Right.
it means that you've got to have wisdom to go and connect maybe with a community organization that is well versed in this, and
Right.
lend your support however it is that you can. And given the fact that we are trying to socially distance and we're trying to lock down, there's so many different barriers to that. But it's important to research just some organizations that are good at that, and support those organizations with your time, even with your money, or with whatever it is that you can. I think that's the best way that the church can help, is to use the experts and let them do what they do and to show that support.
Very good. Well, we just have a short while left, but I'm just thinking about our young people that may be watching us this evening, the viewers, and some of them are in church, some are out of church.
Yeah.
How do you give them, what word of hope and encouragement would you give them just before we close?
I spoke this morning about this, and the hope that you have to have is that God is always in control.
Yes.
And because he's always in control, it doesn't matter what storm comes. It doesn't matter how difficult these or challenging these times are. The reality is that when God is control, when he has you in his hand, you're going to be all right. And at some point in time, this is going to finish. This is going to be over. It's going to be the pandemic's going to be over. COVID-19 is not going to be a threat. So there is hope for that time.
Right.
My thing to young people and to everybody is this: is when it's over, how prepared are you to keep going?
Right.
How prepared are you to get more involved, or do greater things, or do mightier things for the kingdom of God? Like, what is it? And not even just the kingdom of God, even if it's just you and your secular jobs or your secular world, you recognize how impactful this has been for you. So when it's over now, are you going to be surprised again if something like this happens? Because if that's the case, you've never learned anything. And what we've got to do is take what we can from this time and be ready for when it's over. Because when it's over, we've got to be more prepared. We've got to be more excited. We've got to have more zeal and more passion and be able to do the things that we know that we can do with God on our side. And that's
very
important
good
for us to understand.
Well, thank you so much, Kenold. That's all the time we have for this evening. God bless you. Keep up the good work. Blessings on you and your family.
Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Very good. Well, folks, that's all the time we have this evening. I want to thank you for joining us again. If you're on YouTube, or even if you're not, we'd like to go for you to go to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. We really need to hear from you. Let us know what you think about Let's Talk. And if you have questions, comments, we'd appreciate that. I would like to leave you with the word, one of the words that Kenold just used, hope. No matter what's happening, there's hope for every generation, especially our youth. Whether you're millennial or Generation Z, there's hope for you, and this hope is found in the person of Jesus Christ. God bless you. Looking forward to seeing you again next weekend. God bless you. Let's keep talking.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.